Hey there, this is Sarah Elena. Thanks for watching this video. If you're new to this channel, I help people move to Costa Rica. So if you're looking for anything moving to Costa Rica, that is what we do. And today I want to talk with you about some of the challenges that I've faced living here in Costa Rica. So I've been here for almost 9 years at this point. So I want to share with you some of the challenges that I faced. Some of them I've definitely overcome, and then some of them that, well, you still face today, but you kind of have to just learn to adapt. But first, I do want to let you know, well, for all things moving, I have a relocation company here. So what we do is, well, we help through A to Z with all the logistics leading up to your move. We have one-on-one programs, which are a lot more intensive in our work with you. I came out with a new do-it-yourself move to Costa Rica for some of you who are like, I'll do this myself. But if you want to avoid the major pitfalls and make sure they have good connections and all of our expert info, that program might be a good one for you. And lastly, our retreats. We have these awesome retreats that we host multiple times a year. So actually getting to come in person and see people, it's a really great experience. So definitely check out that as well. All of that will be below for you in the description. So today's video, what are some of the challenges that I faced living here in Costa Rica over my last, almost 9 years? Number one, I would say language barrier. It is really important to learn Spanish if you're going to be moving to Costa Rica or to any foreign country. The language barrier for me was extremely challenging. It is a challenge that I have gotten over. I would say now I am finally fluent in Spanish. I did not take classes. If I had, I probably would have been fluent a lot sooner. But the language barrier has been a big challenge for me, especially for me personally. When I got pregnant a year after moving to Costa Rica and going through the whole medical system here, and all of that was really challenging, not understanding the language. So learn the language as best that you can and just take it little by little. Costa Ricans are extremely gracious with the small amount of Spanish that you can try to speak with them, and they will really appreciate you trying. Another thing about language barriers is just having to think before going to do simple things, going to the store, or how are you going to try to ask a question to someone. So I have noticed actually when I do go back to the United States and I just go to the store, I'm like, oh, I can just speak English. So sometimes my brain is a little bit relieved, but again, just keep trying, be patient with yourself. But the language barrier was a big challenge to try to overcome when moving. And it's one that you might face too. Number two, I would say would be some cultural differences. So there are, you're moving to a whole nother culture. So I did struggle a little bit with the cultural differences at first. Overall, the culture here, I do feel like is a good fit for my lifestyle. So it wasn't the biggest challenge I faced, but there are a lot of different cultural nuances and things that you're going to have to learn about, locals and Costa Ricans here in the country. So cultural differences can be a challenge. One of the biggest ones that I hear that people sometimes have a hard time with might be the concept of Tico time. So, is someone going to be on time, or sometimes things are a little bit late, or someone may say I'm coming tomorrow, but they don't come to the next week. So I do see that that's a challenge that I faced personally in the past, but it's one that I do see others face. And that one you can really overcome by just adjusting your expectations a bit and just being a little bit more relaxed about it as well, if you can. Another thing that I did personally find a little bit challenging, well, when you're moving to a new country, I guess you kind of have your guard up a little bit. Or I guess kind of anywhere in the world nowadays. I feel like sometimes you have to have your guard up a little bit because the way the world is. So doing that in a foreign country where maybe things aren't, for me weren't my usual norm, I did find that personally to be a challenge. So again, these may or may not apply to you. I'm just sharing you with what I experienced. Another challenge that I faced was just kind of learning how to do everything all over again. How do I get a phone chip? Can I even get a phone plan? One that I faced, I still do face some of these challenges of learning how to do things in a new system, even being here. How did when I was starting my construction for the houses that I built, it was pretty difficult for me to get the electricity company to come out because our main gate of our community was always closed and there was no one there to open it. So, that was a challenge, and having to navigate that like a few times. And it's one that I was able to be flexible and adaptable and figure out by paying someone to wait there for them to come and hope that they came, and you don't know what day they're coming. And so just small little challenges about how the systems work. Again, just try to be adaptable, try to get creative. You know, that's how I've overcome a lot of these challenges too. It's just in that instance, all right, I'm gonna have to get creative, give someone a job for a few days just to sit there and wait for them. So just be patient with yourself too, as you are figuring out new systems and completely new ways of doing things basically here in the country. Another thing, so actually I wouldn't say that, so it's never really been a challenge for me to find community. I've always really found community really well, and I've moved a lot. I've moved so many times throughout my years here. I'm done moving now. I've now been in this area for, I guess, almost 4 years now. I'm really done moving. But it hasn't been hard to find community, but sometimes I guess the challenging part is that you will make friends and you will get close to people, and some of those people won't stay. They will leave. So I guess that's been a challenge for me as well, when I've gotten really close with people and then, you know, maybe it turns out they end up leaving. But I will say that I do still have some friends that I met from, you know, years ago when I first moved. So it's not that everyone leaves, but it happens. And I guess that can happen anywhere too. But being here, things are, for me, have been a little bit more transient. Another challenge that I face sometimes is honestly just the climate. And that for you, that could depend on where you're choosing. I've primarily chosen to live by the beach areas. I have lived up more in the mountainous areas plenty of times before throughout my years as well. But sometimes for me, I'm like, the climate's just hot. Like all I want is just a cold, beautiful spring breeze to come through the door, and it doesn't happen for me because I do choose to live by the beach. But if I really do want that, I can go travel somewhere and in Costa Rica and feel that beautiful cool breeze. But for me, I don't get that very often. I get really excited when I do wake up and it's a little bit of a cloudy day so that I can get everything open and let all the air in and enjoy that. But sometimes, to be honest, I felt like this last summer season, every summer season for me on the coast, it's just hot. And that can be a challenge sometimes. And the last challenge that I want to list is things that I still struggle with sometimes today. Just waiting a while to do simple things like banking or going to the electricity office or going to adjust something on my phone plan. So just be really patient here in Costa Rica. Bring a book or bring your phone and just things to do. Adjust your expectations and just know that sometimes going to an office to do a very simple thing might take a lot longer than what you would expect. You know, I had to make plenty of trips to the municipality and just sit there and take a number and sit on down. But that's when you can start to plan ahead, know that these things are going to take you longer, and then plan your day around them a little bit. Or with the banking, I did do a video about some banking hacks that I've used so that I don't spend so much time at the bank either. So that's been a challenge. It still is a little bit of a challenge, but it's all to hopefully help teach me patience, more patience, and none of these are deal breakers. So for me, none of these challenges have been deal breakers to where I say, oh, I don't want to live here, I'm out of here. Definitely not. So although there's challenges, it doesn't mean that, you know, I don't like living here. Clearly, I love living here in this country, but everything in life sometimes does have its challenges. So I did want to share with you guys at least some of my personal challenges of living here in Costa Rica. Some of them were ones that I really did face after first moving and that I kind of was able to overcome. Some of them I've overcome by just adjusting my expectations or getting a little bit creative. So I would say if you can be adaptable, if you can adjust, get creative, be patient, you know, then you'll be just fine too. And I appreciate you following along. Make sure to check out all the information down below in the description, and I will see you in the next video.